Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to replace the exhaust manifolds on your Gen 3 Montero. So let's talk about why you'd want to do this job. These exhaust manifolds are made of cast metal, and that means that they are prone to cracking as they heat and they cool down. And your engine gets very hot, and then, especially if you live in a cold place, it's going to cool off, and it's going to cool off fairly rapidly. Also, if you're a little more on the adventurous side and you love to bomb through puddles, all that cold water hitting that hot exhaust manifold can crack it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it's good to know. Usually what happens with these is they develop a crack that goes the entire length and they are irreparable. You cannot weld them. I have tried before. You cannot use other products to seal them because they're cast. The grain structure of the metal is not capable of going back together. So the best thing to do is replace it. Now, if you have this issue, you might notice by starting up the car, and as the car starts to idle down, you hear kind of a tick, 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 or a poop, 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 poop. And that's exhaust gas escaping through that crack. Every once in a while, as the metal expands, that crack is going to go away or it's going to get smaller and the sound is going to get less. Now, there's not a ton of performance issues, but the sound is super annoying and the only way to fix it is to replace it. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about when I say exhaust manifold. Now, for today's example, I'm going to be using this 2002 Mitsubishi Montero. This has got the 3.5 single overhead cam, but if you have the 2003 to 2006 and you have the 3.8, the process should be relatively the same. The things on top of the motor are going to change, the block and the heads are relatively the same, and these exhaust manifolds bolt up to the heads. So I've got a few things removed here just to make it a little easier to see exactly what I'm doing. I removed the air box, both the upper and the lower, and I've also removed the battery and the battery tray. It's pretty simple to take off, so I didn't follow it in this video. But what you want to do is you want to gain access to this. This is going to be your exhaust manifold right down there. Now that's the more complicated side. So let me show you exactly what we're working with over here. On the passenger side, you can see that you got a couple bolts holding this heat shield, and then underneath there, it's going to be bolted to the head of the engine. And this side is a little more complicated because, as you can see, there's just a lot more going on. One, you've got these two dipsticks, you've got all this accessory stuff. This is, in this case, is the power steering coming off of here. You actually have a steering shaft in here as well, and you have an exhaust gas recirculation system. So this is the EGR, and this pipe is going to be attached to the manifold as well. And here's all the replacement parts that we're going to be putting back on. All of these were purchased from Luso Overland. He's actually the only guy I found that has replacement manifolds regularly in stock. I suppose there are places, but I have searched for years trying to find reliable replacements, and Luso is the only guy to do it because he's a Montero guy. He knows that they crack, and so he got these to solve a problem that he was having. So here's all the things you need to do this job. So you've got the driver side one, you can see the EGR port right there, and you've got the passenger one. Here you can see a closer look at those heat shield bolts I was talking about. That's where they actually go in. So there's 3 on this side, and then there's going to be some more on this side, 1, 2, and this third one is all the way in the back here. It also comes with new studs, and then these are the gaskets that you'll need. You'll need 2 exhaust manifold gaskets. These go between the head and the actual manifold. And then you need these guys to go on the rest of the system. Now, specifically, these are going to bolt up to your catalytic converters that are underneath the car, and I'll show you that later when we get in there. And then this is going to be your EGR gasket. That guy is going to go on the other end of this. So as this goes up into the manifold, you're going to have one of these. These are very easy to lose, and so it's good to just get all of it. While you're in there, you're going to be pulling it off. You might as well replace it with good stuff. Now, it's worth noting that this is a great job to do if you're going to do other things in here. For example, if you're doing a timing belt, you're already going to be pulling off the accessory drives. You're going to be decluttering this area. It makes it a little easier to access the exhaust manifolds. Also, if you're going to be doing anything on the top end, if you're going to be doing valve covers or spark plugs, a lot more stuff is going to come off, and so it's going to make it easier to access those bolts. This side, not a big deal. Like I said, this one has a little more stuff on it. So for the sake of this video, I'm actually in the process of doing both a timing belt and spark plugs on this. So I'm going to pull a bunch of stuff off. However, you don't have to. If you're creative, you can get in here with wobble sockets, with flexi wrenches, and you can take all of this stuff off without having to remove any other things. I'm simply going to be removing those things because I'm doing those other jobs. And I would encourage you, if it's one of those things where it's like, man, I need to replace this anyways, you might as well do the exhaust manifolds if they're leaking. Another common problem that I have with a lot of Monteros is this valve cover area. Now it works on, or this problem happens on both the driver and passenger side, but what happens is right here, right above the exhaust manifold, that starts to leak. the valve cover, either the gasket gets hard on that side and so it starts to leak out. And then what happens is the oil that comes out of that drips onto the exhaust manifold. And that change in temperature can be enough to cause premature cracking. And so it's one of those things where maybe you've got a valve cover leak and that's led to an exhaust manifold leak. And if you don't address the problem, you might be in the same situation. So another good reason to do multiple jobs at the same time. I'm gonna get to tearing this thing down so we have a better shot at this, and then I'll show you what needs to actually come off to replace these manifolds. Now, regardless of if you're doing another job like I'm doing with pulling off the intake manifold, you are going to have to remove this EGR pipe. And you wanna be very careful with this. You can see it's bolted into the intake manifold, and it's got two 12mm bolts right there. But there you can see a view of the two 12mm bolts, and there's a gasket behind it, and then that is going to go down into the actual exhaust manifold. So I like to start by removing those two at the top, and then you want to get down here and you're going to have to pry this guy off. It's usually going to be a little difficult to get down there, and it's a little difficult to get off because of the seizure of the bolts on there, but we'll get that off, we'll get this off, and then we'll remove this thing. So I've gotten started on tearing this side down, and I've removed a few things that are going to be helpful for you to remove. Like I said, I did remove the intake manifold. That's because I'm doing valve covers and spark plugs. You do not need to do that. However, what you do need to remove is this bracket right here. It's a pretty easy bracket to figure out. As you can see here, you've got 3 bolts across the bottom, one over there for the EGR, one right here for the oil dipstick, or potentially the transmission dipstick actually, and then 2 up top to hold the manifold. So there's quite a few bolts on there, but they're fairly easy to access. And that allowed me to pull out the oil dipstick, as well as move some of this other stuff out of the way. Now the goal is to just move whatever you need out of the way. This transmission dipstick is going to stay for now, so that you can get to these 3 bolts that are going to cover this exhaust manifold. These bolts are going to be size 12. You need to take those 2 out. Those ones are easy to get to. The one on the very back here, there's one right down there that you can barely see the head of off the top of my finger. It's right down there. That one is going to be a little harder to get to, so pretty much whatever it takes to get to it. You just want to use the tools that make the most sense. So get these off, and then that'll expose all of the bolts here that actually bolt it to the head. Okay, so those bolts are out now. They were really hard to get out, but I didn't snap any of them. You just got to get some good leverage on them, and you can see right here, this is the actual exhaust manifold, and you can actually see right here where that moisture line is. That's the crack. There's a crack here, and I guarantee you on the other side there's a crack, at least on this side, and the same one is probably on the passenger side as well. So these are the bolts you need to take off. Again, these are going to be pretty stubborn. These ones are a lot more crucial not to snap since you're not replacing those studs. So if you need to soak them in penetrating fluid, heat them up, whatever it takes to break them loose, that's the key. You've got one all the way down there, and you got another one up here, and then they just crisscross back and forth. They should be pretty good to take out. I don't snap a lot of these, at least on the Montero, but every situation is different. Every place where a car is different. So take your time, put some penetrating fluid on it, heat it up if you need to, break them loose. Now it's worth mentioning that those bolts in there are super, super hard to get out. So whatever combination of tools you have, I would go ahead and use that. But here's what I'm using. I've got a deep 14 socket on a 1-inch wobbly socket extension on a flex head ratchet. I know that's kind of a ridiculous combination, but I even have this universal joint that I can throw in here as well. It's just really hard to get at these bolts, especially the ones on the driver's side. So whatever you need to use to get at them, just know it's going to be really hard. If you don't have tools like this, I highly recommend picking some up. Otherwise, it might make this job impossible, if not just really, really frustrating. Okay, so I'm all wrapped up on the driver's side for getting everything undone. And before I go underneath the car, I'm just gonna come in here and I'm gonna do the same exact process on this side. The next step is gonna be dropping the actual exhaust down, and then I'm gonna do everything underneath the car before reinstallation. But it's worth mentioning, this is exactly the same as the other side. There's just less stuff going on. So break these bolts loose. You have the same exact pattern here. You're gonna get those guys off, and then it'll be time to go underneath the car and get the exhaust disconnected from the manifold. Okay, so now we're underneath the car. I've got it up in the air here so you can see what's going on a little better. And right now we need to take out these 2 bolts. Those are the bolts right there that attach it to the rest of the exhaust system. Now, depending on how all this goes, you might actually have to disconnect this as well, as this guy right here to kind of shake that free. Up here, it's the same situation, it's just a little harder to see. So there's a bolt right there above the oxygen sensor, and then there's another one right there. Those are gonna be 19s. So if you get an impact up there, you can usually whiz them off. You don't have to remove the O2 sensors, I don't believe. You're just gonna disconnect those, and then we should be able to pull both of these manifolds out from the top. One more thing I forgot is you actually need to remove this bolt right here that holds this catalytic converter up, and that's gonna give you enough room to wiggle these out. So you shouldn't have to disconnect this stuff. All you gotta do is disconnect this hanger, make sure there's enough slack in your O2 sensors, there should be plenty, and then you can go up top and you can pull those manifolds out. And here's both the manifolds out. I was able to take both of them out from the top. This one is a lot easier, there's less in the way. It is possible to take the driver's side one out from the top. You can also take the heat shield out from the top. You've just gotta be really patient and rotate this thing around. You gotta bend some things in some way. If you're patient, you can take it out from the top. That's way easier. If you're really struggling with it, you can disconnect the front drive shaft, remove the exhaust entirely, and drop it from the bottom. But I think being patient and just working this thing around is the easiest way to do it. Now that I have them out of the car, you guys can see this crack a lot more clearly. This is a fairly enormous crack coming through here, but then you get over here and look at the size of this one. I mean, fully cracked all the way through. Like I said, there's no way you can repair this. I've tried welding them before. People will swear by certain products that work. It doesn't work. The only thing you can do is replace them with new ones. So now that we got the old ones out, we got to get the new ones prepped to go in. The only prep I really have to do is you have to put in these studs. So I'm going to get that all queued up and show you guys how to put those studs in before we drop this back in and get everything back buttoned up. So here's how you install these studs into the manifold. You just take these two nuts, and in this case I took the ones that came off the car when I pulled the exhaust off. You take these two nuts and you jam them against each other. So in this case you use two wrenches and you tighten them against each other as much as you can, and then you wind this in until this stud seats. It doesn't need to be on there super tight, but just enough that you can thread a nut on and off. Ideally it won't come off when you undo the nut when you do future maintenance. That's the whole plan. That's the only thing you need to do to prep these manifolds. And then we get the gaskets and it's back to putting them on the car. So I got these guys dropped back in. I've got the gasket in here, and the gasket does have a correct way to go. It can only go on one way, so if you're struggling with it, maybe flip it over and see if that helps. And right now I just have one bolt and one washer going in here. Now normally whenever I'm doing a job, I would say installation is just the reverse of uninstallation. However, in this case, in the case of exhaust, one of the things I found to be really helpful for preventing leaks is to start with the exhaust manifolds. You want to start from the engine and work your way backward. And the reason is, if you were to go down there and tighten up everything else right now, that would put a little bit of tension on this. And then when you suck this up against the head, that tension would be pulling it in one direction or another, and it might not properly seal. However, if you start over here, there's enough flex in the rest of the system that it will get in line with whatever's happening here, and it's meant to compensate for an area that might cause a leak at the head. It's meant to compensate for that further on down in the system. So in this case, I'm going to go through and I'm going to apply a washer and a nut to every single one of these studs, make sure they're torqued down nice and tight, and then I'm going to move under the truck and connect the rest of the exhaust system. And we've got this thing reattached. We've got the driver's side one reattached as well. And to be honest with you guys, there is probably a torque spec for these. However, given the tight tolerances and how much of a pain it is just to get these things attached at all, I'm not worried about the torque spec. I just get them really tight. Obviously not too tight, it's kind of a feel thing, but you want to be all tight. And the other thing that's helpful to do in these, just to make sure that they sit really well, is to go in kind of a crisscross pattern. I like to work my way from the inside out and just crisscross around, so upper, lower, then go to the lower, then go upper and lower and lower, just so it cinches down evenly to the head of the engine. Now at this point, you could jump underneath the car and you could attach the bottom exhaust. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on this area, getting this all buttoned up, and we'll do the bottom of the exhaust last. First step on the reinstallation is to put the heat shield back on. Now it is mission critical to put the heat shield back on, specifically because of pieces like this right here. There you can see this is for the O2 sensor, and that's what's going to hold that wiring away from the hot exhaust. That way it doesn't get burnt. The other thing is you got to remember to put this on before you do the EGR tube. If you do the EGR tube and then do this, you'll be very sad. Last thing I want to point out is this right here. You can barely see it, but that bolt has kind of worn a hole in this exhaust shield. In this case, I'm going to put a washer underneath there so that it still holds this on. If this is loose, it'll rattle like crazy, and then it'll be really annoying when you get it on. So you want to make sure it's nice and cinched down there. Actually, in this case, I think it's cinched down enough, but if yours is rattling at all or if it's not securing, put a washer in there and take care of that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to install that EGR pipe, and then I'm going to work on putting this bracket here. And there's the EGR on. Now this is a little tricky, and you got to be careful with it. You can buy a new tube from Lusso Overland if you're worried about breaking this. In this case, I was just really careful. So this screws into your intake manifold. However, it's not going to do that until you have this nut seated down there. So you kind of got to do one of these things before the other. You got to screw that down as far as you can, and then you got to bend this over and get it lined up right here. This is where the gasket goes. So make sure you put the gasket in there. You don't want to leave it out. Get them nice and tight. And then I'm using an adjustable wrench to get a hold of this guy. I think it's a 27 millimeter, but I don't have a 27 millimeter wrench. And you just got to get in there and make it work. Get that nice and tightened down. Once you're done with that, time to install the bracket. Here's an example of what that looks like when you do the washers. Otherwise, there's just not enough meat to grab on in this case to get this to cinch down. Another good piece of advice that I have for you is before you go cinching these down, get all of them started. Sometimes there's just enough play in here that you can get this one tight, and then you can't get that one tight. So get those all started. Once they're all started to thread in a little bit, then you can cinch them down and you're ready to go. So here's that bracket all installed like this. You've got your transmission dipstick, you've got your EGR holder right here, then you got these 4 bolts at the bottom. This one up here doubles. In the case of the 2002, it doubles as the O2 sensor holder. And then you can see down there is routed through that shroud. It's through the exhaust heat shield. The last thing we need to do is install the engine dipstick on this side. It's just going to be 1 bolt down there, but because this is hard to do from the top, this is where I'm going to go underneath the car. I'm going to attach the bottom of the exhaust, and I'm going to get that installed. Then I'll come back in and bolt it up, and this should be ready to go. Okay, that was a huge pain in the butt, but I've got everything lined up here. I've got the rest of the exhaust bolted in on both sides. I've got the gaskets in there, and you can see right there, there's the oil dipstick tube. It's just sitting in there right now so that when I get to the top, I can plug that in and make sure it's all lined up. Here's a tip for putting on these exhaust connections right here. Remember I said you should attach the manifold first, that way there's not any weird torque on it. Well, chances are good that in the process of this, with this thing heating up and cooling down, it's not going to want to go back the exact same way. So if you loosen it up here at this joint, then you should be able to attach it using the flex that's in this joint. See, these 2 joints are more of a donut style, and they're meant to move with the exhaust, so they have play in them naturally. So what I did is I disconnected this, I attached this guy right there, I got this one attached, and then I attached this before reattaching it to the frame. It's all a little bit of a game of trying to make sure you get everything lined up, but utilizing these flexible joints is the best way to make sure that you don't have any exhaust leaks, because after all, that's the whole point of replacing these, is that you don't have any exhaust leaks. So with that, let's go put the oil dipstick back in its place, throw that bolt in there, and fire this thing up. Man, oh man. Well, it's hard to tell because you guys didn't hear it before, but this sounds so much better. This thing used to sound like a big truck, lots of exhaust sound, lots of that put sound, and now it's smooth. Oh, this is way better. Now it's worth noting that these exhaust manifolds are probably going to off-gas for a little bit, so there's probably going to be a little bit of smoke, especially with me doing the valve covers and everything. There's going to be some stuff coming off of it, but this is a good sign. Now I won't lie to you guys, that was a ton of work. That's really not that hard in theory, but getting your hands down in those bolts it's just super frustrating, and usually the bolts are really hard to break off, and so you're using a lot of leverage, there's not a lot of room to work. This is not a particularly easy job. However, now that I've done it before and after, and I've done this a handful of times, it's so worth it. It just makes the car feel so much nicer, it runs so much smoother. It's totally worth doing, especially when you see how bad those manifolds are. So like I said before, the only place I've been able to find replacements for these reliably is Lusso Overland, and not only does he have the manifolds, he has every single gasket, and most of them are OEM to replace the gaskets you take off. So head to LussoOverland.com if you want to check out this job, if you want to see what it would be like to replace it. And hopefully this video is helpful for you guys if you're thinking about tackling this on your own. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.